Hey, everybody.
Thanks for tuning in to the Hanging On to Hope podcast.
I'm Brenda J.
And I'm Karen Wonder.
And we are HangingOnToHope.org.
This podcast is intended as educational and is not psychological or medical advice. Always consult a professional when needed, and we disclaim any liability in connection with the instruction, information, or advice given. Well, hello and welcome to the Hanging On to Hope podcast. This is Karen W. On today's podcast, we welcome to the show Brandi Powell. She's the founder and CEO of the Village of the Valley organization, which provides free transformational coaching to abuse victims here in Arizona. She's also a Master Certified Transformational Coach. So welcome to the podcast, Brandi.
Well, thank you for having me. Pleasure to be here.
So I saw an interview with you and Katie Broomer, who went through the program herself and is now a volunteer on your Compassion Meets Action committee. And she shared that for her to start her healing, she asked herself one question, and that was what she would do if her daughter came to her and asked her advice on what she should do. And I find that so many helpers in the advocacy world have a background of some type of abuse or destructive relationship that has fueled their desire to help others, just like yours. And same thing with us. So the Village of the Valley makes that possible, and I love that. So can you share some examples of how you've seen this with your organization?
Well, it's interesting because part of our work that we do with women in the program is we do an evaluation of their emotional needs. And one of the emotional needs that many of our women select on that sheet is contribution to the enrichment of life. And I know for me, that's really important to have meaning and depth to my life, to take what I've been through and find ways that it can be redeemed. And I am absolutely not alone in that. Many of our women feel exactly the same way. And so it's so important for us as a team here at Village of the Valley to really recognize what are the ways that I can fulfill this need I have in me to create bigger meaning for my life, to be that helper that I want to be, a well-boundaried helper that I want to be. And I find that when a woman's going through this program, that they are really not keeping this to themselves. They are sharing what they're learning with their friends, their family, that this program not only impacts her, but it impacts her children in significant ways. I've had plenty of our moms take some of the work they've done in session and use it with their children, sharing it with their friends. I mean, the bulk of the women that come to Village of the Valley are referrals because one woman finds a really good experience. She does change and she wants those around her to feel that kind of same help. She'll go and she'll share it. So I'm a big believer in that. You know, we can absolutely meet our own needs here in some significant ways. One of them is being able to share what it is we're gaining here. And as I stated before, all of our volunteers are giving back in that way towards the organization to help keep it going, to help further the work that we do and be creative in what that work continues to look like.
Yeah, that's great. Because once you start finding freedom, you want everyone to start finding freedom because you find that, you go through dark places in your healing journey. And it's so important to be able to encourage people because you do come out of that. It doesn't last forever,
Very true. Very true. That is part of the journey, right? That sometimes when you're facing those really hard truths, it does feel really heavy. It does feel really overwhelming, but also not facing those truths is already overwhelming and already really hard. So it's just a matter of picking the hard you want to do.
Right.
And I think when they do that, they end up having long-term change, not short-term fixes.
Right. It's so worth going through that. And definitely if you have some support alongside you, makes that easier.
Yes, absolutely it does.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. And I think for me also finding that purpose was important, but also finding balance, having balance in my life and have been like those things that regulate me. Because I find myself, I come dysregulated and I think the main thing I had to figure out was how to regulate myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I know this has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but for me, I still get dysregulated a lot, but I do think balance is key because you have to make sure that you're doing those things that regulate you every day, whether it's spending time in the Word with God and exercising or whatever it is, in addition to having your purpose and, all those things. And then your mental, because that's important for your mental health, like you said earlier.
Oh, no, I'm so glad you said that. I mean, truly, that you are spot on. Everything in balance. I totally agree. I had a session earlier today, and we said that same exact sentiment. That we have these parts of ourselves that can get real out of balance real quick,
Mm-hmm.
and it is our job to figure out, okay, I'm noticing this in me. How do I bring this back into an alignment where I'm harmonious within myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
that's
I'm
very
so
true.
glad you said that. Thank you for saying that.
Oh yeah, because one day I wake up and I'll be dysregulated. I don't even know why, but I realize I need to do those things that bring me regulation. Because if I have too much of one thing or one thing overwhelms me too much, say it's work, I have to remember to take a step back and regulate myself before I can even take a step further back into that stressful situation. And it's because of the trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can't just dive in like I used to be able to.
No, that's
Yes.
true. That's something I'm still working on because my work, what I do for full-time job is stress inducing.
Yeah.
And it can put me in that. I don't even realize I'm dysregulated. Like you said, I'm trying to be more aware of that time when I'm, because it kind of happens subtly.
Yeah.
But then if you don't stop and take the time to re-regulate yourself, then yeah, it sends you into kind of being triggered almost.
Yeah. I'll notice I'll get triggered. And like as soon as I hear that stressful thing that someone wants me to do or have that seems just way too much for me, and then I get completely overwhelmed, but I realize that if I just give it like an hour, a couple hours, my whole mindset's different. Instead of just giving into that, oh my goodness, it's just so stressful. Like I'll notice as I just take a step back that my mindset will change and I'll calm down and I'll start to think of it in a more positive way, actually. Like, no, this will be okay. This will work out. But I just try not to react right away because I know that I'll immediately just become dysregulated. So
yeah, that is a very important part.
Maybe I need to go through your classes.
Oh, come for sure. I mean, what you're saying is such great self-awareness, right? That you notice that this can happen. And, we talk about the real power of thoughts, feelings, and actions. That you have a thought that pops into your head, it then immediately sparks a feeling, even if you can't identify what the feeling is. And then you're going to begin taking action out of that thought and feeling. And if you can slow that process down, because we're talking that happens in a blink of an eye,
right.
If you can slow that process down and do what you just expressed, right? Begin some self-talk to get yourself to breathe, to reinforce, okay, wait a second, I'm moving too fast. I've got to slow this down a little bit. Things will be okay. I mean, that's really remarkable. And we practice so much of that at Votive here, really understanding the correlation in the power of what we think, how we can introduce new thoughts, which will change how we feel literally because we're changing the feelings. And that's ultimately going to result in the actions being different as well. So well said and exactly in alignment with what we're doing too.
That's so awesome. Yeah, I've always had really high stress jobs and then I retired because my jobs were always high stress, but they were high stress where I was so good at what I did that I didn't have to think about it so that I just would work through it easily. And now I'm in doing all kinds of different things that are high stress, but they're extremely difficult things. So I have to do that. And then I realize it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Just slow down. You can get the help you need.
Yeah.
I was listening to a podcast on Friday, I think it was Dan Allender's podcast, and he was talking about regulating, and he was talking about the vagus nerve, which I really want to learn more about that because he was talking about simple exercises you could do, and like humming. I was humming after I listened to that. I spent the rest of my day humming. So I was working, but like it just does something, with your vagus nerve that helps you get out of fight or flight. And he had some really good suggestions. I want to finish listening to it because I stopped it because I'm like, okay, I really want to concentrate on this. I was working when I was listening, but yeah, we'd have to dive into that more.
And see, what you're talking and what you're describing are tools, right? And strategies to be able to help yourself in these moments. And that is exactly what we're doing here, is offering week after week easy, understandable tools and strategies that a woman can begin to practice and try out. You're not going to get it necessarily the first time you do it, but it is a practice. To be able to equip yourself with different ways of working through life. And so that's a great tool to mention right there.
Yeah. And I think we learn these things, and when we're in trauma, our brains don't really process them. But when Karen and I went to Paris, like, I'm super afraid of heights, and we were about to go on that elevator to go up to the top of the Eiffel Tower. And I was about to have I was getting panicky. And then I was like, just breathe, do what you've learned, put it into practice. And I did. And I was like immediately calm, and I loved it. We stayed up there for like two hours.
A long time.
We were up there. So yeah, I mean, I was like, wait a minute, why do I teach this stuff and then I don't do it?
Yeah. That's why when I posted those pictures yesterday, that one of you on the balcony, because I'm like, that was a celebratory moment where you're like, I'm not going to let this conquer me.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so
and
that was
you got
awesome.
your supporter there with you. How cool is that?
Yeah, I just thought we need to do it. Like, I'll get dysregulated, and I'm like, why am I not reading my Bible? Why am I not taking a few minutes to, be in the moment and
Take some deep breaths.
Yeah, and meditate a little bit and breathe. But I don't. I just run back into the stressful. So that's why I hope our listeners will get something out of this, because you do need to take a step back and do those things that regulate you.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Every session we start off with our clients doing a grounding exercise every single time we meet. And they're very simple, very short. We breathe. We go through an exercise that maybe they're just focusing in on my words as they're using their imagination. Maybe they're appreciating a moment in their history where they accomplished something and felt really good. Or maybe we're just tuning into the body and being thankful and compassionate to the body for getting us through every day. Just even a couple minutes of doing that. Tremendous effect on clearing the mind.
Yeah,
tremendous effect on calming the body.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. And when you're in trauma mode, you just react. You're on react mode, but that's why it is important that we stop and back up and have that time to reset.
Yes, for sure.
Even just like writing down things you like about yourself. I still struggle with that. So I need to start doing that more too. I don't know why I do. I'm like, I can't think of anything.
Right?
I shouldn't be laughing, but I guess if I can laugh about it, I know that there are good things. I just haven't sat down long enough.
Oh, and I posted, it was her birthday yesterday. And so I posted some pictures on Facebook, for that. And I was going to put on the what I wrote. I was going to say, now don't pick apart your picture. I thought, I know she's going to be like, oh, I don't like this in that picture. I don't like that my picture. But I'm like, no, I probably shouldn't make that public. But
I didn't even say that. I said, those are great pictures.
Oh, good. Well, yeah, you didn't. Yeah. But I was hoping you weren't thinking it like, criticizing yourself. It's so easy to do that.
Yeah, no, I think I'm good. I'm too old now. I should see the text my 22-year-old son sent me. I have 3 kids, and one's 27, one's 25, one's 22. He says, "Happy birthday, Mom. You're officially old AF," which I didn't say that. And I said, "Thanks." He goes, "Are you like 70 today?" I said, "Yep." He goes, "JK." Then he says my real age. He goes, "Still young." I said, "Not really, but thank you." He goes, "Huh? You're not old till you're 60. Everyone knows that." And laughy face. I'm like,
yeah.
But yeah, that's what 22-year-olds think. Just so you know. Like, that's insane.
Yeah.
So you also offer enrichment workshops. Did you share about those already, or is there anything you wanted to share about the workshops?
Well, our workshops and our support groups are all part of the program. So the people that would have access to those would be women who are walking through the program. We don't open them up to the general public. But we've got some incredible workshops we've done. The most recent, we did this peace versus chaos, where we were figuring out ways through our 4 sessions that we do for the workshop in cultivating more of a harmonious you kind of attitude, right? Whether it's in the workplace and relationships, maybe it's in the home. There's a bunch of different ways that we worked through being able to give the women strategies and tools. And it was a wonderful workshop series. Whenever we do our workshops and support groups, we always have women, kind of a blend of women who've already graduated, who want to keep going and keep participating in their healing work, and others who are right currently in that program and are going through it right in that moment. So it's great to have gals who are a little farther down the road and to interact with some of the gals that are really just opening up a lot of this stuff. So it creates a beautiful dynamic of discussion, and it creates opportunities for relationships. And yeah, so we're real excited. We've got another one we're going to be doing, I believe, in September, October, around the core beliefs and primal questions. And so one of our newer coaches, who's also a program graduate, she's going to be leading that, and we're real excited to be able to offer it.
That's great. I love that you do all this.
So when's the next one start? In
July.
We will. Yeah, our next semester starts July, so now's perfect time to be reaching out to see if there's availability to get on the schedule.
Yeah, that's great. Well, we thank you so much for coming on the podcast today and sharing with us about what you've been through and about your wonderful organization. Can you share with our listeners how they can find your organization, the Village of the Valley?
Yeah, it's super easy. You can go on villageofthevalley.org and look us up through our website. We're also on all the major social media platforms on Facebook and TikTok and Instagram, so feel free to find us on there. And like I said earlier, don't hesitate to schedule that consultation if you're curious about finding out the information and seeing if it's the right time to start this kind of transformative journey.
Yeah, I think I started following you on TikTok. Saw some of your videos.
Uh-oh. That's our fun platform.
Yeah. That's great though.
Now, did you notice like a difference between like if somebody hasn't fully gotten out of the trauma or their abuser's still in their life and they're not fully, do they have to go through it more than once, or like, did you notice any difference?
Yeah, I think I know what you mean. And well, first, we always make sure that if you're still living with your abuser, then we wait until that situation changes. Because in all honesty, we could come here every week for 6 months and do our best, but you're going home to that situation and your focus is on surviving.
Yeah.
And
I say you can't heal from trauma if you're in the trauma.
Correct. Ideally, what we're trying to do is wait until you are in a physically safe space and have enough freedom. I mean, if you're going through a divorce, obviously you're going to still be tied to that person through all of those kinds of proceedings. And even then, it's a challenge to not get distracted by that divorce process of all that legal process. But we will for sure allow a woman into the program if she's in a safe space, but in legal divorce process. The best time to work on the work here at Votive would be when you don't have to worry about the roof over your head, where you've come to enough of a place where you feel stable enough in terms of relationships. Maybe they're not all going well necessarily, but that's okay because that's people for you. But you're not in direct harm from somebody who is abusive.
It's kind of like if they want to listen to Sarah McDougall's podcast on the 4 seasons of healing, it's probably when you're more in a position of strength, heading from stability to strength, like right in between those 2 seasons.
Yeah, I was thinking that you're probably more in survival mode at that point.
Yeah, we are definitely a second tier organization where we are not crisis help by any means. When the time is right to begin unpacking, that's where we come in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely recommend, and to our listeners, like if you're still in the middle or trying to get out, or I would recommend therapy. That's what
Absolutely.
I did. I went to a therapist while I was still in the marriage, and it saved my life.
Yeah.
So
I think therapy and coaching are wonderful complements to one another.
Yeah, I did coaching too.
Yes. They're both, I think, necessary. And so it doesn't matter, I don't think necessarily which one you do first, but definitely both necessary.
And I even recommend life coaching because I had a life coach and like about things in areas in your life because you're starting on your own and they help guide you in making decisions. Like they helped me with my career decisions and my path in life and stuff too. So that was important for me too. And I had a spiritual coach and I did EMDR a couple times and a lot of stuff. So it takes a lot.
It does. I appreciate you doing all that work. It really does make a difference for you
I still
and
got a
everybody
long way
else.
to go though. I'm not denying that, but
it's a journey for everyone. really.
Yeah,
So-
don't you think it's like a lifelong journey? I mean, I
Yeah.
really think the road of healing is really this, running the long race kind of an idea. And as you mentioned earlier with the birthday, the second half of life piece, that 50 mark, it changes again because it's a different kind of time in life,
Mhm. It
Yeah.
definitely is.
Yeah, definitely. Especially when now I'm on menopause. It's like a whole nother level.
Same. I get you.
Well, I know you're also
Mhm.
looking for supporters. Can you explain how someone can get involved if they're just wanting to help in some way?
Yes, because we are a social services organization, meaning we provide a service to the community. We are always looking for people to donate and give to pay for the program. We are a very small nonprofit in Phoenix, and so we have a difficulty going up against the big guys trying to get some of those federal grants. So we found that we have a lot of traction with people in our community who just really want to support good work that really is effective. And so we're always looking for business partners or community members who would love to help, even in small ways, donate to the organization to help keep us going. We truly are a grassroots organization, and we only exist when we have donors who help us keep this service going. You can check out our website on ways to support that, and we would appreciate every dollar matters.
Yeah, I'm sure it does. So that's great. So hopefully someone listening might. Well, thank you so much for sharing. Any last comments you want to leave with our listeners?
It is never too late to start. We have women that are in their 70s who come in and decide that they're just ready to do something different. So your age never matters. It doesn't ever matter how much work you've done or haven't done. Let's just begin a different transformative process. Absolutely, women are worth it. They are incredible change makers in our society. Please consider if it's the right time to reach out and get the help that you may also need.
That's great. I remember when I was doing some advocacy work, I was talking to someone that was quite a bit older, but I thought, well, at least she was had been in several relationships, but at least she was working on it now. Like you said, it's never too late.
That's right. Thank you both. I appreciate your time.
Yes,
Yeah,
thank
thank
you. For your
you.
time. We appreciate you.
Yeah. Thanks for being on the podcast.
Thank you. Take care.
Okay, bye.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And when I started this in 2017, I didn't know anything about being an entrepreneur. I knew nothing about starting nonprofits. So all that to say, even if it feels overwhelming, one step at a time, right?
Yeah.
One research project at a time,
Right.
one question at a time, and just keep going. If that's what you want to do, just keep going.
Yeah.
Whatever's in front of you next to do.
Great. Thank you for that inspiration. It's very inspiring.
We started ours in 2020, right in the middle of COVID.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Like the month before COVID, I put in the application. And then
Yeah.
Well,
COVID,
good for you guys.
yeah, so she wants to get her coaching, whatever she wants.
Yeah, I would like to, because I got
Freedom.
trained in yoga, and I got trained in So As Release, which is releasing trauma from your body. So I'd really like to go more into that. But
Oh, beautiful.
yeah, but we'll see. I kind of got out of doing yoga, so I'm trying to get back into it myself because I'm like, gosh, I need it. I need it. Let's talk about, it's just a regulating thing.
Yes, absolutely. Well, good luck. I really hope the best for you and as you're pursuing what's next. That's great.
Okay, thank
Great.
you.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Thanks, ladies. Take care. Bye-bye.
All right.
Bye.
You too. Bye-bye. Thanks for tuning in to Hanging On to Hope. Check out our website, hangingontohope.org. There are resources on there, and if you would like to donate or volunteer, you can do that through our website. We are a brand new nonprofit, so we appreciate any and all support. And we thank you for listening. And until next time, keep hanging on to hope. We are evidence that there is hope and healing for you, and our passion is to help you find it too. So thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for listening, everyone.